this song along with me. Just open up your hearts. Feel harmony and peace inside yourself. Life is a great school, teaching always to do good. Learning that in order to be happy, we need to help. Learning to accept that everyone deserves respect. Uniting all their hearts with a gesture of affection. Finding our happiness will be spreading joy. There is no other way. Charity is the solution. Only one love, only one ideal. So love and peace in the world. Conquer us. Feel the life within ourselves, and love will certainly appear. And the world will be in peace. Sing this song along with me. Just open up your heart. Feel harmony and peace inside yourself. Life is a great school, teaching always to do good. Learn that in order to be happy, we need to help. Learn to accept that everyone deserves respect. Uniting all their hearts with a gesture of affection. Finding our happiness will be spreading joy. There is no other way. Charity is the solution. Only one love, only one ideal. So love and peace in the world. Conquer us. Feel the life within ourselves, and love will certainly appear. And the world will be in peace. Only one love, only love ideal. So love and peace in the world. Conquer us. Feel the life within ourselves, and love will certainly appear. And the world will be in peace.
Lends a hand. It's time to open up your heart. It is time to love one another. It is time to take part. Vibrate always. Loving and serving everyone. Vibrate always. Loving, serving everyone. When we give our heart in charity, our lives are transformed into song. Our dream become reality, and we join Jesus for eternity. Vibrate always, love and serving everyone. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. When we give our heart songs, our dream become reality, and we join Jesus for eternity. Source of love that radiates, warm up our cold night, support and comfort, support and comfort, escape from down the mountain, calling the children of earth with love in their heart, with love in their heart. My soul never loses hope, because your love always teach me. The solution lies in hard work. The solution lies in hard work. For my mother Zephyrina, harvest of wonderful blessing. Make your small son a good Christian. Make your small son a good Christian. Jesus, here I am, my knees on the floor, say thank you, my Lord, for the light that comes through this door. Your love is the key to change entire world. Using these chains wisely, we live in peace and harmony. Now I understand, helping others is helping myself. Your words now are so crystal clear. Your teachings have no frontiers. To see all these transformations, we just have to put love in action. To see all these transformations, we just have to put love in action.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our study tonight. I'm Veronica from Winnipeg, and we have friends here from different places in Canada, and we would like to welcome everyone. So, just a couple of announcements before we start. So, please find a quiet place if possible to join us tonight in our study. Um, Turn off your phone notifications and try to tune in to our study. Our meeting format will be 30 minutes of presentation, and we'll have some times for comments and question and answer. So you can participate, leaving your comment in the chat through YouTube or Facebook. And following this, we will have a spiritual treatment with passes and magnetized water. So this is a good time for you to put aside a container with your water that will be magnetized, and then you can use with your family. And here is the note about the water, right? So good time to grab this container of water. So we are also would like to know and ask you to follow us on Facebook, our Facebook pages at Spiritism Canada, and also Spiritist Group Paths of Light from London, Ontario. So we are gonna get started with our opening prayer. So I invite everyone to close your eyes and join me in this prayer. So let's elevate our thoughts to our Master Jesus, to our God, our Father, that is full of love toward us, that loves us, all of us, as His children. Let's be thankful for this opportunity that we got together to study teachings of light, teachings of truth that fill our hearts with hope, with truth, and with peace. We are so thankful, Master Jesus, because your words and your teachings survive years, centuries, and millennia. And here we are today, still studying and learning. We ask, Master Jesus, your blessings and the protection of the good spirits that join us tonight so that we can absorb the feast of teachings that bring us peace, that bring us understanding of our struggles and give us energy to move forward with optimism, with a smile in our faces. We ask our blessings tonight and always. So be it. Okay, so we tonight have we're going to study the chapter 1, item 3, that talks about Jesus. So we are going to see what Spiritism has to tell us about Jesus. And tonight we have our friend Publio from Toronto, Ontario, to share some thoughts about this topic. So just to remind everyone, before probably we start, that you can participate through the chat in Facebook and YouTube. So leave there your comment, leave there your questions, and then we'll be happy to address them after the talk. All right. So Publio, how are you?
Hello, Veronica. Hello, everybody. I'm okay, thank you. I'm very, very happy to be here again with you and everybody. It's a pleasure. I'm very happy, especially when they invite me to talk about Jesus. And talking about Jesus in Spiritism is very, very interesting. You're gonna see in many different chapters, but there's in the beginning, chapter 1, items 3 and 4, Christ. Oh, a gospel according to Spiritism. So what this is very important. And Kardec, Allan Kardec, in the Spiritist book, question 625, he asked, what is the perfect standard that God has offered to humankind as a guide and model? That's how important is Jesus in our life and what he represents to us as a why God sent Jesus to be a guide and model for us. So the answer of the spirits is very clear. Look at Jesus. So Jesus, we're gonna see through this conversation how important his passage is in our earth planet, and he's our guide and model for everything. So if we want to do good, follow Jesus. And Allan Kardec comments, Jesus is the highest standard of moral perfection to which humankind may aspire on earth. God offers him as the most perfect model, and the doctrine he taught is the purest expression of God's law, because he was animated by divine spirit and was the purest being that has ever walked in the earth. So we can find many example in the earth, but Jesus is the most pure spirit that walk here in the planet earth. And why he is so important, like that he continue, if someone of those who claim to teach God's law to humans have sometimes led them astray with erroneous principles, it is because they allow themselves to be dominated by strong earthly sentiments. And because they confuse the laws regulating the conditions of the life of the soul with those regulating the life on the body. So most of the prophets, most of the spirits that came to us, they mix their thoughts and the thoughts of the God's law. So that's why Jesus, a pure spirit, came and gave us the most pure concept of the God's law, because he knew our condition that time, and he knows, and he couldn't say everything. He could say everything according to the life, the development for anybody. So that's Jesus Christ in our life. And Jesus did not come to destroy the law. Like we learned the last two meetings about Moses, about another prophet. Jesus didn't come to destroy the laws. Jesus did not come to destroy the law. That it's God's law. He came to fulfill it. That is, to develop it, to give it its true meaning, and to adapt it to the degree of humankind advancement. That's what I said. He came to show us to live those thoughts, those teachings. So it's not only saying things like philosophy. No, he lives those laws. The law of love is the most important one. He said, love your neighbor as love your God first of all, and your labor as yourself. So if you are doing it, and he lived these laws daily, that's why he's so important, and he gave so much to us in that time and still giving us today. And continuum, that's why that is the law may be found in principle of duty to God and one's neighbor, which compromises the basis of his doctrine. So without loving our neighbors, without loving ourselves, all the God's law would be in vain, because if we don't do this, how can we love our God? So he came to fulfill all these feelings. So that's why it's so important, and that's why I'm so happy to talk, because I'm learning a lot to talk to you. One more thing, like, he constantly combated the abuse of outward practices and erroneous interpretations, and he could not make them undergo a more radical reform that of reducing them to these words. So in that time, like today, there was many different interpretations of the God's law. So he said, okay, you know what? Let me tell you something. Love God above all things, in your neighbor as yourself. And it stating, he reduced all the laws in just this phrase. This is the whole of the law and the prophets. This was Jesus teaching us, talking to us. So this law of love is the most important thing, and resume everything, the whole of law and the prophets. So all the prophets that came before Jesus, after Jesus, it's resumed in this phrase: love your God and your neighbor as yourself. Doing this, we are going to be angels very soon. By these words, heaven and earth shall not pass away before everything is fulfilled up to one single iota. Iota was like a money, that a change. So everything must, like, for the, let me explain in the very easy way. We're not gonna be a better world without doing this. Love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. That's what means these words. Heaven and earth shall not pass away before everything is fulfilled up. So we have to leave those teachings. Other than that, things not going to change. Jesus meant that it would be necessary for God's law to receive its fulfillment. That is, to be practiced all over the earth in all of this purity, with all of its development and all of its consequences. So now we are not talking about religion, but we're talking about a feeling that all religion they've concentrated in this feeling. Live the laws, God. Fulfillment that. Practice that. The purity, the development, the consequences of this law. So, Jesus' role, however, was not simply that of moralist lawgiver with no other authority than his own word. He came to fulfill the prophecies that had announced his coming. So not only he was a philosopher or a prophet, he came to fulfill the prophecies that was coming before him. We learned the last two lessons that to people talking here, that came the prophets first, came spiritism, that many messages saying that Jesus was coming. So the next one, his authority derived from the exceptional nature of his spirit and his divine mission. He came to teach humans that true life is to be found not on the earth, but in the on kingdom of heaven. So he said more than one time, his kingdom is not here, because his kingdom is the kingdom of heaven, kingdom of love. So when we, all the humankind, start practicing this law, so we're gonna be in heaven. So that's where Jesus will be with us. He never left us, but we're gonna fulfill these laws. So to teach them the way that leads there, that means of reconciling themselves to God, and to forward them regarding to progress of future things for the fulfillment of human destiny. So means that one day all of us, we're gonna practice that law of love. And I hope you guys can be with me in these thoughts, but we still have more things to say. He spoke of all things, but in terms explicit in varying degrees. So Jesus used a lot of different language to teach those people in that time. He talked about the water, the lady giving him water. He talked about the people judging another people, but he did this in the way people could understand his thoughts, his teachings. That's the reason he spoke of all things, but in terms explicitly in varying degrees. He talked to the people that know the laws, people didn't know. In order to understand the hiding meaning of certain words, it would be necessary for new ideas and knowledge to come to provide humans the key, as such ideas could not come before the human mind had acquired a certain degree of maturity. So, like when happened, Lazarus, he wake Lazarus up, he said, "Wake up." And people couldn't understand what's happening that time. Many years after, we learn about the catalepsy. It's apparently a dead person come back. So, but in that time, people wouldn't be able to understand those words or those things that is natural. Is not is not like supernatural. It's something natural in science. But for that people, for that time, he couldn't reveal those things. So it was very specific for that time and place. But he also said different things like, I will send another consoler that will stay with you. So let's see the next one. Science would have to contribute strongly toward the emergence and development of these ideas. Therefore, it will be necessary to give science time to progress. Exactly what I said. In that time, talking about science would be like nothing, because people didn't know in that time. So Jesus had to use a specific way to teach in that time and give the chance to the people get better, to understand, to study, and give science time to progress. So many things that happened that time was exactly for that time. He also said the power of prayer. This phrase here is so important, and we can find more in the Gospel according to Spiritism. Is a chapter dedicated to pray and prayers. So let's say what Matthew said. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek, and you find. Knock on the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be open. So it's a symbolic way to say hello. If you concentrate and you ask, God will attend you. Not the way we really want, because, like he said, we are like a kids, like a children asking for a sweet. So sometimes, like in our world now, the kids ask mom or dad, "Oh, can I have a sweet? Can I have a sweet?" No, it's not time. Sweet is not very good. So in that time, Jesus was trying to teach us what is important, what is important in our life. And if we have faith, we ask God help. Sometimes the help comes in a different way. But I said, oh my, not that what I asked Jesus, not that what I asked God, but that's what we really need for our development. One more thing about Jesus. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Look how deep is those teachings. Before the law was to love your neighbor and hate your enemy. Jesus came, no. You're going to love your neighbor and pray for your enemy. Pray for those persecute you. How important is this in our life? Because with the Spiritism, we learn that we are brothers and sisters, and we're going to have another opportunity to reincarnate and maybe be beside our enemy as a daughter, as a son, as a wife, as a husband, as a father, as a mother. So that's why the very good reason we have to pray for those persecute us. We never know in this incarnation what we did in the past. So one more reason to love is start learning to love. And now we are almost finishing our conversation. I'm gonna tell you one story. There was a very famous painter, and he decided to paint one canvas, and he did, and asked a lot of people to come. He would show the painting for everybody. So when people went there, they started saying, "Oh, what a beautiful picture! What a beautiful picture!" And the painter stayed quiet, didn't say anything. But one person noticed one thing. Let's see the picture. See, it's a beautiful picture. Jesus knocking the door. But one person started looking and said, wow, this door is a kind of different. There's no knobs to open the door. So he started thinking, and he gave asked question for the painter. Say, look, my friend, it's very beautiful paint, but I noticed there's no knobs to open the door. That's the secret of the paint. Because the door for Jesus to come to inside the house or inside your heart, there's only one way to open the door, from inside. And this is to show us all these words that I say before. The only way we can receive those teachings, to accept those teachings, is to open the door of our heart. Other than that, we're going to be many different books teaching many different things. So we have to allow Jesus to come inside, but not only to come here and live, to come here and stay with us, so we can start fulfilling all those teachings. And he resumed in one little phrase all his teachings. It's one phrase: love your God over everything, and your neighbor as yourself. So I hope you guys like the explanation. You can go to uh, Gospel According Spiritism, chapter 1, items 3 and 4. So we're going to have some time to questions and answer. If you want to ask anything, I'm going to be here with one of our co-hosts. We can talk about. Veronica.
Hello, Publio. Thank you very much for your presentation and reflections on the topic. I guess it's hard to talk about Jesus in half an hour, right?
Actually, it's very happy. It's so much we have to talk. How many things we have to bring up. But I said I'm gonna concentrate in some points, so
Yes.
make it easier. Because if, like I said, if you want to go to Gospel According Spiritism, you're gonna find 100 citations about Jesus, his teachings, his examples. But we're gonna I just concentrate on those.
Yeah. One thing that I was thinking as you were talking about the a few teachings that Jesus left for us, right? But how I'm always impressed how pure spirits, higher spirits are able to use just a few words to to say a big teaching or to teach us a big concept, right? So Jesus was able to summarize the entire law, right, that was left by Moses into one sentence, right? Love God above all and your neighbor as yourself. Period.
That's it. Everything after that is to explain this law. Actually,
Yeah.
was I think it's Gandhi made this comment, because if you lose everything about the Jesus Christ and remember just this sentence, is enough. What else you need to know about the
Yes.
law? Love yourself. Oh, so love yourself means I cannot steal. Yes, you cannot steal. Love your neighbor. You cannot. Yes, it's very simple. It's very difficult too,
Yes. Yes.
because because it's. But like you said, for a pure spirit, so those kind of spirit, they have the power to synthesize things. Like,
Hmm.
I need half an hour to say a lot of things about Jesus, and in one phrase, he said everything. Like, what else? I could come here and say, look, love God above everything and your neighbor as yourself. Finish
Yeah.
our conversation.
Well, Publio, perhaps because we need more words to explain simple things, but we also need to listen frequently the same lessons so that can stick in to us, right? So I guess as we progress, right, all of us are on earth to learn, improve, right? So it is no, we should not be ashamed of actually reading and rereading and restudying the same topic, right? We have to study and practice as much as we need, right?
That's the point. Like, study is one thing, practice is another thing, right? So yes, I know this law. Very good. So when I'm going to start? So, and but this change is not rapidly. Like, we cannot say I start tomorrow. I'm gonna be a saint. I'm gonna be an angel. No, this is very hard because we have many different incarnations, and we didn't have this knowledge, we didn't have these feelings. So now yes, I understand, and I can do this 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, and one day I step out and do something wrong. I say, oh my God, I forgot. So you start again. So the progress is not done in one day or one incarnation. We can start. That's the biggest point. We can start. Knowing is already a good start. Knowing this law, knowing the necessity of doing this, it's a big, big start for everybody.
Yeah. No, that's great. And another thing also that came to my mind was how Spiritism and Kardec's work, right, uh, put was able to so clearly explain the teachings of Jesus, right? And he was able to in the Spiritism doctrine to actually compile, separate what was events of Jesus' life, right, or events of the historical facts from the pure teachings, the moral teachings that are eternal, right? So when we read the gospel and other works by Allan Kardec and other spiritist works, right, we can find the essence of the teachings of Jesus, right? And it makes all sense. So even parts that are kind of obscure, that we kind of don't understand, seems to be ambiguous, it start to make sense, makes so much sense, right, to our hearts.
That's a very good point, because Kardec was very well prepared spirit when he incarnated, and he had this knowledge to make things clear for us, right? Because it's very, some people has the power to say beautiful words, and in the end you don't understand much what he said. But the good spirits, superior spirits like Kardec, like Jesus put in one sentence. Kardec explained very clear. There's no more doubts. Like it now, that's what's very important to study Kardec.
Mhm.
Like we have a school on Saturdays in Portuguese now, but we're gonna have in English. But how important is to study and understand, because understanding, I said, okay, now like you said, some points are very unclear, but Kardec said, you know what, let me explain to you very easy. And he had the spiritual world helping him in this transition on those books, so make our life, our knowledge too easy to understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, no, that's great. And we should not get anxious, right? If there is any particular teaching that we don't currently understand, because Spiritism predicts that as we evolve, we acquire more intelligence, science progress, many things are going to be revealed, right? So we don't know everything, and we don't have capacity to actually know everything. So Spiritism already let us know that, right? So we have to just continue our path and try to improve ourselves, right?
Exactly, improve ourselves. You said the right thing. Like we cannot put all the responsibility in another shoulders. Like we have to do our part. Like try to understand, how can I understand without reading? How can I understand without learning or studying? Right? And we cannot just say, oh, God wants that way. No, no. I doing things that's not very healthy is gonna have consequences, right? So those things, even these spiritists came to teach us, because we are our, let's say, our engineers for ourselves, for our life, for a better life. If I want a better life, I have to start living a better life daily. And like Jesus said, one sentence: love your God above all and your neighbor as yourself. Simple like that.
Yeah, all right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. We have our entire existence, this life, and many others to come to put that in practice and
See,
master that for sure.
see, those things we learn with Spiritism. Many lives. We have another opportunity, like we can start now doing this development, our life, our spirit, and continue after this life in another experience. And this, Jesus couldn't say that in the 2000 years ago, but the Spiritist came and said, look, yes, you can start now and continue, because the evolution don't stop. Like you said, we never will know everything, never, but we're gonna start learning more and more and more. That's the law of progress.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. So, Fulvio, thanks again for for sharing your reflections today about Jesus. And we do go tonight with many lessons, right? To reflect, to think about, and help us to have a better life, better thoughts, right? And be good and do good things in this world, right?
I have to say thank you because I learned more about Jesus preparing those things. I have to say thank you. Thank you all for the opportunity to study a little bit and share with you all those lessons. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you. So it's time now to everybody to move on to our next moment in our meeting, which is the spiritual treatment. So, what is the spiritual treatment? Spiritual treatment is made of two things. The first thing are passes. What is a pass? Pass is a transfusion of spiritual energy assisting our physical body, our emotional state, and our mental balance. So we through passes, we receive energy that comes from the good spirits, and this help us to recover some of our imbalances, right? The second part of the spiritual treatment is made of the magnetized water, the container of water that you set aside. So during the entire meeting and during also the moment of passes, the water that we set aside receives is magnetized, receives energy from the good spirits that helps with healing. So this healing energy also helps our body and our soul to to balance, to recover from from bad thoughts, from bad actions that we have that impregnate us with negative energy. So it helps us to do this replacement with good energy, and that help us and also our families. So to best take advantage of this spiritual treatment is the best way of doing this is to follow the audio instructions that we are going to listen in a few minutes and remain in prayer. And we can close our eyes, we can relax, try to relax and follow these instructions, right? And mentalize what is being said. Okay, so we are going to start with a prayer in preparation to the spiritual treatment, and following that, we will remain silent and follow the instructions. Okay, so let's close our eyes one more time and continue uh, in this state of peace, of joy. Let's one more time thank God for this opportunity where we receive blessings from the higher spirits, where we receive teachings that give us hope. And in this moment where we move towards our spiritual treatment, we ask the good spirits to be with us and to help us to receive the blessings and the light that we need. And only God really knows what we really need. So we ask God that we can receive the blessings tonight that we really need today. So be it.
Let's prepare ourselves now for the moment of the passes and the blessing of our water. Place by your side a container with clean water to be blessed and magnetized. Dear brothers and sisters, no matter where you are in this moment, what difficulties you're facing, Jesus is always ready to come to our help. Place yourself now in a comfortable position, one that facilitates concentration and receptivity. Breathe slowly and calmly. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Fill your lungs with air and release slowly. Let the energy of tranquility and peace penetrate your lungs and circulate throughout your body. Your soul, in harmony with your body, feels peaceful and at peace. Let us think now about the passage of Jesus among us. In a beautiful and clear day, the golden rays of the sun illuminating the joyful landscape, multicolored flowers, bouncing, chirping birds fill the landscape with optimism. The news of the cures brought a crowd of needy people around Jesus. Suddenly, Jesus appears, calm and serene. His white tunic is light and long all the way up to his feet. At the sunset, all those who were sick and affected by different diseases were brought to him, and Jesus, laying his hand on each one, healed them, as narrated in the Gospel of Luke. Let's mentalize now Jesus approaching us in this moment, placing his friendly hands on top of your head. Feel the presence of this Divine Master right with you, feeling like a waterfall of pure and crystalline waters start to fall from his hands, coming from his love to bathe you, falling on your head, streaming down your shoulders, bathing your whole entire being, bringing you peace, serenity, and balance, cleaning all impurities and pacifying yourself. Feel these waters bathing you, cleansing and purifying. Breathe. Now think of Jesus as a sun right before you, his light, his warmth, embracing you, enveloping you. Feel the healing emerging, emanating from Christ towards you. He hears your prayers. Trust him. His love is infinite. He is always by your side, protecting, offering everything you need. Trust him. Feel and absorb all these magnificent healing energies coming from Jesus in this moment. His light surrounds and embraces you. Feel these energies running throughout your body. Feel yourself re energized, strengthened, and at peace. Dear Lord Jesus, our divine friend, extend your generous hands, Lord, and transform these waters into remedies for our physical and spiritual ailments. Hold us, Jesus, in your peace. Extend your vibrations of love for the benefit of my home, dear Lord. May peace, health, tranquility reign here with my family. We give thanks to you, Jesus, and pray that you stay with us today and always. Thank you, God.
Um, so we are coming to the end of our transmission tonight. We would like to thank everyone for joining us tonight, for studying with us. And we would also like to invite you to go to our Facebook page and YouTube channel, where we have all the lectures, right? The presentations. We have all the talks recorded, so you can go back and look at. And because we are doing this study in a systematic way, we are going to each chapter in each item in the Gospel according to Spiritism, and we are now in chapter 1. So we'll continue in doing that. So please follow us so you can actually study the entire Gospel with us, right? So now we are going to close our meeting with a prayer. And again, we'll be here next week at the same time, 7:30 in Central Time and 8:30 Eastern Time. So let's close our eyes and elevate our thoughts once more to our lovely God, our Father, our Master Jesus, our Big Brother, in gratitude for this moment where we learn, we study together, we take 1 hour of our day to study teachings of light that fill our heart and our minds with light, with hope, with joy, that remind us that we are not here alone at will, that our lives have a purpose, that we are here as children to learn, to grow, to learn to walk until we can fly. We ask the good spirits to be with us, to protect us, so that we can hear, listen to the voices of the sky, of the heavens, that tell us the right path to follow. We ask Master Jesus to bless us, to have your light upon us, so that we can see everything that's ahead of us and so many good things we can do to ourselves, to our neighbors, to this world. Please bless, Master Jesus, our families, the places where we go, the people we see and we interact, and help us to be good workers in your big task in this world that we live in. We thank you once more for all the blessings we receive today and every day. So be it.
seeds of love as our Master Jesus taught. You will see that behind every sight there's a flame shining bright, tiny spark created by God.